Okay, what's the next thing I want to look at? Viginia Guiffre has been buried secretly. So let's have a look at that. Now, do you know what? The more I think about Viginia, the more upset that I get. This poor woman, you know, just so sad what she's gone through in her life. And then, you know, to end up deleting herself because, you know, she's obviously so unhappy. I mean, nobody deletes themselves if they're happy, do they? So, yeah, it's horrible, isn't it? Final goodbye. Prince Andrew accuser Viginia Guiffre's funeral held in secret in Australia as cops, I hate that word cops, police, release update on her tragic death. And her family confirmed her death and said she has been a lifelong victim of sex abuse. Now, the more that I see about Viginia, I just feel absolutely heartbroken for this woman, you know, and the more then that I look at her interviews and that and how you can see how vulnerable she was, you know, because of what happened to her from when she was a teenager. Because don't forget, supposedly, you know, I don't, will anyone ever know the truth? I mean, Virginia's not here to tell us her truth anymore. But was she abused even before, you know, she was abused like by Epstein and Andrew, etc.? You know, is it true that she was abused before that? Has she had this lifetime of abuse? Just so very sad, isn't it? Okay, let's have a look at this video.
Heartbreak. Virginia was not only a very brave advocate.
So the more I look at her videos now, I mean, I remember watching these when she came out speaking about Andrew, but when I look at her now, I see it from a different eye. She does look so terribly sad, so terribly vulnerable. Do you know who she reminds me of? I mean, you might think I'm being dramatic, but it's like that Marilyn Monroe sort of look, isn't it? Of wanting approval, wanting, I don't know, to do the right thing, but feeling so vulnerable inside. I don't know, she's got that vulnerable look about her, bless her. Rest in peace. I hope she is resting in peace now.
For herself, which is hard enough, standing up against what she went through, but for all sexual assault victims, she spoke out again and again. She was really a leader in the community. She was incredibly brave, and this is just devastating news. I think many of my clients in high-profile sexual assault cases, whether it was against Jeffrey Epstein or any other high-profile person, you know, really admired her, were inspired.
No, and it's especially relevant, isn't it? You know, it's always been relevant, and it's been a massive story for years. But I think with the Diddy, you know, the Diddy mushroom trial, he sort of brought it all up again. How many women out there are being, or girls being abused? You know, it's such a fine line, isn't it? Now, Virginia was 17, so she was underage. But she could have been a year older and she would have been of age. And, you know, I still feel with Charlie Boy and Lady Diana, that was practically paedophilia. Because although she was over the age of consent, you know, he was so much older, and the prince in love already with another woman, using her as a broodmare. This happens all the time. These young girls, they do get, what's the word? They get sort of taken advantage of. And then people later will say, oh, well, you know, she was a consenting adult and blah, de, blah, de, blah. Yeah, she was a consenting adult, but she was just so young. And Virginia wasn't a consenting adult. She was 17. And, you know, even if Prince Andrew turned round, or Randy Andy turned round and said, oh, I didn't know she was underage. Did he even ask? Didn't care, did he?
By her courage. Her social media posts were very moving and empowering to a lot of people. It's always a good time to come clean.
Oh, God, this horrible man. You know, this horrible man. Now, when she first died, I thought, oh, God, he'll be having a party, like, celebrate it. But you know what? I think this will make it worse for him, because I think this has been a shock for people that maybe weren't on her side. Maybe thinking that she's being dramatic, or she's doing it for the money, or blah, de, blah, de, blah. And now see how vulnerable she was. And come here. Tia. Here. Right. Tia. Stop. You know, he did it to her. He didn't care. And she won't have been the only one. I mean, she's the only one that Prince Andrew has actually been, held account for. Not that he's been held to account properly, because, of course, he's never gone to prison or anything like that. But there'll be others. There'll be loads of others, probably. I don't believe for a minute that Viginia was the only one with Randy Andy, Party Prince. At first I thought, oh, God, he'd be celebrating that she's not here anymore. But now I think it's going to make it even worse for him, because now people will feel more sympathetic towards her if they weren't before. They will feel more sympathetic.
To confess, to apologize to her family now, if not to her. And it's absurd for him to say he never met her when there's a photograph of him with her, probably taken by Jeffrey Epstein, and with Ghislaine Maxwell in the background. He's never been able to explain that photo. He's always said, well, maybe it was doctored. Well, he had at his disposal every forensic scientist who could have proved that, and never did. And Virginia always maintained that the photo was not doctored, that she wouldn't even know how to do that. And frankly, I believe her. So we know that he was close, Prince Andrew was, with Ghislaine Maxwell and with Jeffrey Epstein. We know that he...
Yeah, ultimately it comes down to, who do you believe? Who do you believe? PDF, Prince Andrew, Randy Andy, Party Prince, or do you believe Virginia? I mean, who's the most likely to be telling the truth? I know who I believe. And if people don't believe her, well, there's something wrong with them, in my opinion.
Went and visited Jeffrey Epstein after Epstein's first conviction in 2008, I think it was. And so that speaks volumes. And, I certainly hope that Prince Andrew is not going to benefit from this tragedy. Yeah. Virginia is like so many women who I have represented over the years. What you see in public is one face, but in private, there's so much pain. There's so often depression and suicidality. And a big part of what my team and I do as advocates for sexual assault victims is shoring them up, getting them to a good therapist, trying to get them strong enough to come in and testify. Sexual assault is so devastating to the psyche. And I wish she were still here. I wish I could give her a hug and tell her it's going to get better, that people love her and admire her. I will certainly never forget her. She was truly an inspirational young woman, so brave. And it's just heartbreaking.
It is heartbreaking. It's completely heartbreaking. Awful. Poor Viginia. Anyway, as I say, I hope she's resting in peace. I don't think anyone will ever forgive Andrew. But do you know what? To me, it's not just Andrew. It's Charles. It's like the whole royal family. They're just disgusting. I think disgusting. They're just mired in, always have been mired in sort of horrible. You know, they're just in privilege. Privilege. We've seen what it does with Diddy. Money, privilege. People thinking they can do what the hell they like because all these little people don't count. Only they count. You know, there'll be all sorts that has gone on in the royal family. Andrew is just a small part of it. He's just a small part of it. The royal family don't care about anybody else's life or whatever. They never cared about Diana. Even the Queen, to be honest, and I don't mean Shamila, I mean the proper Queen. Even she didn't really care about Diana. It's all about keeping this ruling family going, you know, in this modern age. And people still think they're bloody brilliant, you know. People will, you know, be nasty about somebody who's, you know, not got, who's struggling just to survive. People look down on that and they never look up to these horrible people and see how they use people, you know, for their own objectives. And I include Charlie Boy, Shamila, the whole royal family. There's none of them. I won't give you tuppence for any of them. What is so special about them? They're just lucky enough to get plopped out into the royal family. They haven't done anything to deserve it, to deserve, you know, what are the merit things that they've done? Nothing. Anyway, I just wanted to talk about, this is not about a rant about the royal family. This is about Viginia, respect for Viginia. So she's been buried secretly. And yeah, I'm not surprised because her family, they won't want, what's the word? They won't want her to be, you know, they're probably sort of sick, if you like, of her being, you know, in the public eye. Now, I was reading the, let's have a look. Done the voluntary castration. I've done the Ukrainian guy assassinated in Madrid. So let me just have a look at where she was buried. Bless her. I think there was a lot going on in her private life. You know, her and her husband had split up, so that won't have helped. Obviously, I think there was a lot going on with Viginia, but you know, at the end of the day, because of what she'd been through before, she just couldn't cope probably with the other things that were going on in her private life. So it's taken place in private in a service held in Australia. Just 41 years old. I mean, that's so young, isn't it? Anyway, she died on her own farm in near Gabby, about 80 kilometres north of Perth in Australia. And she has reportedly been cremated in recent days. Earlier this week at Pinaroo Valley Memorial Park in Padbury, with her death not being ruled as suspicious. You know, I don't know about that. Maybe it was suspicious, but, you know, can't get more suspicious than Randy Andy. Anyway, following her tragic death, her family spoke out in a statement saying she was a fierce warrior in the fight against SA, but the toll of abuse became unbearable. She lost her life to self-deletion. In fact, I'm going to share this because there's a nice picture on here of her with the dogs. There's always dogs. There's always a dog, isn't there? You know, and unfortunately, even her dog couldn't help her. feel better. Same as with, dogs tend to make you feel better. But where's that picture gone? Oh, there it is. There she is with her dog. And that's off her Instagram. Bless. So they said she will be missed beyond measure despite the adversity she faced in her life. She shone so bright. She would be missed beyond measure. And the children described her as the light of... Oh, she described the children as the light of her life. So apparently the service was held privately and not made public knowledge, which is fair enough. And there, of course, is that infamous photo that it seems that Jeffrey Epstein took this photo. He had stuff on Andrew. When he met Andrew in that park in New York, they met in the park because there were no cameras there, or they thought, though that was probably Epstein that took the photo of a meeting in the park. But there were no tape recordings, That's why Andrew went all the way there to talk to him as well. He didn't want to put anything down in a text or in a phone call. He went there, went off to the park to talk, and Andrew, thought he was being clever, but he still wasn't clever, enough, because Epstein made sure a photo was taken. Aye, so very sad for Viginia, but anyway. And of course, remember, he paid millions to settle that civil suit, even though he said he was innocent. Because that's what you do, isn't it? When you're innocent, you pay millions of pounds to your accuser. Because that's what you do when you're innocent, idiot. And not only he's an idiot, but he thinks we're all idiots as well. That's even more scary. Even more scary. Not only he's an idiot, but he thinks the British public and all over the world are also idiots. But do you know what? Unfortunately, some of them are. But anyway, there you go. So that's the next thing off my list. Where am I going down here? So we've done Viginia. Yeah, so we've done, so I've got two more things. There's one that I forgot. Very quickly. Sorry, I've just got to have a drink because my throat's gone dry. We've been talking about poor Valeria, the Mexican influencer who was literally shot dead on a live. And we've been talking about her. We talked about her in the members on Thursday. And I just want to show some photos that have come up in the Spanish news of Valeria when she was young. Well, say when she was young, she was only 23, 24 when she died. But I mean, before that, before she was an influencer, before she got into all this, when she was a model, and even we're going to look at a photo of when she was, even younger, when before she was in even modeling at all. Again, so very sad. So Valeria Marquez started her career as a model, and these photos have come out. Look how beautiful this girl was, was whatever. Look at how beautiful. I mean, oh my God. I mean, maybe it's got some filter on it, maybe it's got some touch up on it, but really, really beautiful. Her eyes, everything about her. So beautiful, and just shot dead literally on a live stream. I literally cannot get over it. It really upset me for days. I could not stop thinking about her, and in fact last night I actually dreamt about her, because it's just so awful what happened to this girl. They've got to catch the people who did this. Just Is it so dangerous to be a TikToker now or on Instagram? Is it so dangerous just to be beautiful? She's beautiful and she was proud of being beautiful. And why shouldn't she be? You know, why shouldn't she be beautiful? She brought pleasure to people who like looking at her, like following her account. There's nothing wrong with that. She did, you know, she made the best of what she had, you know, which was beauty, and she was clever with it. She had about 100,000 followers. And then some fucking idiot just walked in and shot her. Like she didn't matter, you know, like she didn't matter at all, shot her 3 times. I'm so angry about this, can't tell you, and it's so upsetting. So anyway, this is a friend of hers, a friend from before she was famous, who's posted these photos that she had of her. So she was Miss Rostro 2021. Rostro's face. So she was Miss Face. In 2021, she won this beauty competition. So it says here, in these images, the Mexican influencer appears with a very different appearance to those recent, because of course she did have plastic surgery. She dyed her hair blonde, etc. So this is the more natural look from when she was younger. This photo as well, just so, I mean, she was a natural beauty. So many young girls, they are natural beauties, but they always think, especially in this day and age, they think they need to do more to look even more beautiful. But actually, she was beautiful as she was. She didn't need plastic surgery. And then there's a picture of her here. Look, when she was young. We got a video there. Let's watch. So, I don't think I shared that actually. Let's see. No, not that. I don't want to share that. I wanted to share the video from before. Hang on. Here we go. When the night was full of terror. Just want to go back to that bit. Oh. So yeah, there she is with her braces on her teeth. Just a young girl dreaming of being famous, you know, not thinking that one day she'd get shot on a live stream. You know, that this Valeria case, it has made me so angry, so upsetting. Anyway, her friend says, rest in peace, Flaquita. Flaquita, I think that's like skinny or something like that. I will always remember you as a beautiful woman. So yeah, these pictures that have been released by friends who knew her before she was a TikToker. Sorry, I've got to swap it to that. And there she is. Bless her. Oh. Now I can feel myself getting upset now because I'm talking